So, hi, and welcome to this very first episode of the DEP, the Data Enrichment Podcast. And this pod is all about the marketing data. Because most marketers has already felt and seen the effect of reduced ecosystem when it comes to data. And it's already impacting marketing everywhere. And this is really a chance for us to kind of dig a little bit deeper in the data side and get everyone on board in what it actually means to use and work with data enrichment, because this I think is really important going forward. Less and less marketing in data. So why is it like this? And here it really boils down to the fact that the technologies, the old technologies that we've been working with for over 2 decades are getting shut down, going away. And this is of course a result from kind of technology shifts, but those are driven by the change in user behavior, the mindfulness around privacy, integrity online, because this is where we as consumers, as internet users, are spending most of our time nowadays. And we understand that this is really important to be mindful of who has the information about you, because more and more players are working with nefarious purposes with the data. So even though we understand data is really important to us, what does it mean that we're getting less of it? And here we really have to go back to kind of the birth of the internet. Very early on, the technology that we all know as third-party cookies was invented, and already at this time, already then they said, but this might be a little bit integrity intrusive. But very, very, very early on, marketers just caught on that this is a great technology to track, to measure, to collect information, to gather data that makes marketing more and more accurate over time. So never mind the integrity parts. We want this technology, and it's been working, and it's really been the kind of wild, wild west out there. Anyone who can put a script on a website has been collecting data. And the problem for internet users is that they don't know who these people are or what companies it is and what they're doing with the data. And now, when we're really in the middle of this shift of third-party cookies, it's getting shut down. Apple are blocking the third-party cookies. More and more browsers are blocking the third-party cookies, and of course Google saying they're gonna shut it down next year as well. And then we can really truly bury this third-party cookie. But I think that there's a lot of marketers out there that haven't really grasped what does this technology mean and what does it mean for me as a marketer when it disappears. So let's just kind of dig in a little bit deeper into this technology, because it has such a huge impact. And if you grasp kind of the overall technology and how it works or worked, then you will actually understand the impact of it a lot better. So imagine the third-party cookie as this little assistant that follows you all over the internet, jumping around, taking notes on what you do, when you do it, how you do it, how long you stay, what's your interest, what are you looking at, and so on. This little guy has been sitting in your browser just collecting the information. And it's just not one guy. So every company that can put a cookie in your browser have this little assistant just writing down, what are you doing here, what are you doing here? And then eventually you might have kind of reached some criteria that says, all right, it looks like this person is in a purchase mode. It now is the time to offer some of these products, because we think there's a high likelihood that they will be interested in this. And this can be, what articles have you read? What searches have you done? What products have you looked at? And so on, and much, much more. So meaning that they take all this data and kind of translate it into, now this user is quite similar to others that been doing these same things, right? And of course, then you hear what it sounds like, lookalikes. And this is really what it is. This is, you take all this information, but it can also be very specific. You looked at these pair of shoes in this size right now, and then they pop up everywhere. This is classic retargeting, and I think most marketers are very, very familiar with this. But they're all relying on the same technology, meaning tracking users from website to website to website to website. And the problem here is that the user most likely haven't kind of opted in to this tracking. Maybe for a few parties, but not everyone that's involved. And this has led to kind of the GDPR, the e-privacy, and so on, saying that, hey, this is not okay. A lot of companies across the internet are gathering data, loads and loads and loads of data about users, and they don't know about it. So this needs to stop. And of course, with ad blockers and everything that's kind of been on the rise for many, many years, this is the next step, removing this tracking. And for, I would say, internet users, this is great news. You will feel more secure about your data. But for marketers, it's really, really a shift, because this means that technologies and marketing methods that you've been relying on for ages is just going away, and there's nothing there really to replace them. And I think that this also, you have to understand, is that when you can't collect data from many different sources, where you're having to rely on only your own and operated websites and domains, this means that you're feeding actually less data into even the marketing ecosystems. So let's make an example out of this, and let's say Meta or Facebook, right? When all those websites had the Facebook pixel on them, then Facebook was getting behavioral data from thousands, millions of websites, and they're all kind of collected within the Meta ecosystem, right? So what does this mean? Well, it means that even though you might not even have a Facebook account, already when you create an account on Facebook, they already have loads and loads of behavioral data on you based on every website you visited where they had the Facebook pixel. So, and this has been super useful for marketers, because you just relied on the Facebook lookalikes, and they are great with this data and segmentation and building those profiles, right? So you just activate, I want lookalikes. You put also the script on your website. Facebook is collecting more and more data about your users, feeding it into their system and serving all of their customers, of course. And that's the price for getting kind of access to this lookalike pool, let's call it. But this also means that you don't know exactly why the users qualify for your marketing campaign. It's just Facebook says, they're similar enough due to a bunch of reasons. This is why we show your ads to those users and not to those. So as a marketer, you really don't have to think much. You can just say, all right, let's go with the lookalikes. Facebook's doing the best, and you've seen great return on the ad spend and everything like this. On the other hand, when Facebook's been siphoning in data from all these millions and millions of websites, now that the third-party cookie is going away, we're starting to cut those. Meaning that actually within the Facebook ecosystem, you're getting less and less data and less users with those really great profiles, with all this behavioral data, with all this third-party data that Facebook been collecting from other places. Meaning that actually the audience sizes are getting smaller and smaller because the data is less and less. And this means also that if you're targeting those audiences, you're competing with more and more advertisers about those high quality audiences. And prices going up, clicks are going down. Facebook had launched a bunch of new ad positions, meaning that you're getting it's harder to stand out in this marketing space, right? So this is kind of the effect, and this works the same for anyone who's been using third-party cookies tracking and so on. So it's not just about Meta. This is really not so. And almost every, or I would say every digital marketing system on the planet has relied on these third-party cookies. So if you understand this, that all right, even global players like Facebook are getting less data now, how do you think this impacts your brand when you get less data to collect also through those marketing platforms? So kind of as in general, with the third-party cookie going away, data is getting less and less and less. And especially this kind of third-party data that's been transferred between websites, between marketing channels and so on. This is going down. So what does this mean for advertisers? Yeah, I alluded to it just before, that in order to create the same effect with less accurate data, of course, you need to spend more. And the clicks becomes more expensive, the conversions cost more, and in some cases, in some channels, even the ad spend, the CPM price is going up. So this is really bad news, I would say, for advertisers in general, because digital marketing has relied on this type of high quality data for so long. And so what do you do as an advertiser? Yeah, of course, you need to approach this and realize that, some things are going away and they're really not coming back. And this means that if we're looking at the technologies to replace these third-party cookies and the audience targeting and so on, I think every marketer needs to understand that as marketing becomes less accurate, you will have to spend more. And instead and if we're looking at kind of the initiatives from Google and others where they're talking about cohorts instead of users, meaning, so in order to avoid working with personal data, you group users in groups instead, meaning that, yeah, those users has probably also looked at shoes, similar shoes the last few hours. So let's retarget all of them with the same campaign, meaning that you are getting less relevant because maybe only one user was actually on your website looking at a pair of shoes, but you're targeting the group. It might be, I don't know how it's going to kind of end up in the end, but I think that in general, accuracy will be reduced as we're moving away from individual data to grouped data or to cohort data or audience data. And I think also this means when Facebook and other players will have less possibility to define your audience based on the data they collected on your website, because this gets cut, it means you need to understand your audience a lot better so that you can actually qualify users using your own first-party data. So third-party data, first-party data, I will be talking a lot more about this in the next coming episodes. But I think that, the big shift here is moving towards first-party data. And this means advertisers need to understand their customers, their web visitors a lot better. Publishers will need to understand their visitors, their customers a lot better, because here is where the match can be done. First-party data matched to other first-party data. But to be honest, I worked many years in the publishing industry before moving into ad tech, martech, and marketing data. And this is not the strong side for publishers in general. And the kind of fragmentation that's already a part of the programmatic ecosystem with thousands of platforms communicating with each other will only increase when you kind of cut this data connection also. Meaning that the fragmentation will complicate things, both for advertisers and for publishers. So I've heard a lot of requests for some kind of standardization for the programmatic ecosystem, and I think this will be a way forward. But this is also something I will be talking a lot more about in the next coming episodes. So this was just dipping the toe in the data enrichment pond, and I hope that I will see a lot of you again. So I will be posting this in YouTube, on LinkedIn, and follow me there. So hope to see you around, and when you're in dire need, just add some more data.